Hello, my name is Jonathan Stoner, and I'm with Trimble. In this session, we'll just be covering an overview of our estimating suite of products. The first product I'll be showing you is called Modelogix. It handles conceptual estimating using your historical database. So previous projects that you've estimated, you import those in, and you can use them to create a conceptual cost model. Then I'll be showing you an overview of our database-driven estimating system, WinEst. In Modelogix, you'll see on the front page here that we can import a WinEst estimate or an Excel estimate. If you use a different system, you can convert it to an Excel file and then import that into Modelogix to store for your database. To create a cost model, you'll see I have my database of 20 or so projects here, and you see the folder system, and I can have as many folders in here as I want. You'll see that I could create cost models, so I could go through and keep track of all of those. I can access them at any time. Modelogix is a cloud-based software, so it is stored online. You install a small client to where you can log in to the website. To create a cost model, I can go here to search. You'll see my database of projects here listed below and where those projects were located in a map up above. I use what are called smart categories to narrow down my list of projects based on clarifications that I've set up beforehand. So I've got industry segments, so I could create a cost model based on corporate office by eliminating the healthcare and retail. I can then go to corporate office drop-down and check the box for square feet of conference rooms or interior gross square footage, building footprint, exterior shell material. When I start moving those around, you see my list gets smaller and smaller. Once I've got my list narrowed down to a reasonable list, I can choose to eliminate more, or I could manipulate more details here and add more projects there if I need to. Once done, I can go up here, click on the X, choose where I want this new cost model to be stored, and I give it a name. I hit OK, and it starts creating the cost model. It's going to import in the two contributing projects that I've selected there, and then it's going to bring me to the opening screen where I can put in the details for this new project. So the quantity could be anything I want. It could be based off of gross square footage of the building, which is what I'm going to do. But you could see I could use any units that I want. This project is going to be built out into the future because it's conceptual. And I'm going to say it's going to be built in Seattle, Washington. I have a city cost index that I can apply as well. So I could scroll down to Washington and choose Seattle. Then I come over to the spreadsheet. Initially, I've got my view set up to show me the unit format level 1, but I could drag over the division, and I could see this multi-layered view here showing division first and then unit format under that. I could remove any of those views, and I could just see this in CSI if I want to. These are tables that you set up ahead of time, and when you import your projects in, they're already associated with that table. I can also choose to bring in other metrics so that I could look at things like labor, material, subcontractor, equipment. Right now, I'm just going to look at the quantity, which in this case is going to show me the gross square footage of the building for each of these projects. It's going to show me the total unit cost based on that unit that you're seeing there, and then the total value for each division. Now, I could drag over the major, so I could see the second level of CSI, and then the minor. So I can literally get down to the screws as far as what I'm looking at here. To keep this at a high level, what you're seeing here is my two contributing projects and their costs, and then my cost model is just an average of the two. But in the Calculations tab, I can apply a time-based index, so that even though this project was built in 2012 and this in 2017, I can apply a time-based index to allow for me to look at these projects as if they're being built out in the future. And then I could apply a city cost index as well, so that even though this was built in Bend and this is Gig Harbor, it'll be as if they were built in Seattle, Washington. I see a complete history of all the actions I've taken against the project. If I see anything that's out of whack here, I can make adjustments. I can type over the cost here, and it will adjust it. You see it gives me a little highlight. There is an undo button here as well. I can see the changes that I've made here in the history, and I can undo that back to the previous. I can apply markups just like a typical estimating system. I can benchmark my cost model versus another cost model or an estimate. So I've got that sanity check of the cost model. I think it's right, or I think it's close. And then I could compare that to something that I know is accurate. I can look at statistics. I can get a lot of visibility into this cost model. I can see the mean, median, minimum, maximum range, the variance, and the standard deviation, and then the prices of the two contributing projects. As additional visibility, I can see the ranges in every division. So if I wanted to look at this by CSI, I'll see the 16 divisions listed down below, and then I see under concrete, I've got a pretty good spread there. I could go back to the spreadsheet and adjust those costs to make those a little bit closer together. I can go into attachments, and I can attach schedules, other estimate files, or whatever I want to do. Whatever I attach here, if it's a model or a schedule, if I were to open it from here, it'll just open in the software that you have installed on your computer that opens that file. And then I can generate a report. Once the report is run, you'll see the two contributing project images there, and then here in the middle, I don't have an image for my new cost model, but if I did, it would show up here. I've got my company logo, a table of contents, and then I've got my cost model. So I'm seeing all the costs broken down, and this is just a demo report, but you can modify this any way you want to view this information, any way that you want the owner to view. Under that, you're going to see the first contributing project shown in the format that I've set for this report. I could see that a time and city cost index are being applied, and I could see all the costs broken down by unit format. I could see the questions that I had to answer just so that I could filter out other projects. I've put in all of this information. It fits into the corporate office. It's got square foot of conference rooms, interior gross square footage. So you get to prove out why this is a valuable project to show to the owner that you know what you're doing and you know that you've done work like theirs before. And then there's my second contributing project. That is Modelogix. Now, our database-driven estimating system, WinEst, as I had mentioned, it is database-driven. I can go up here, click Add, and it opens up a window looking into our database, whichever database you have access to. Right now, I'm looking at the RS Means BCCD, but if I have access to another database, I can click on the drop-down under Database and choose a different one. And now when I click Add, I have a window into that database. I can see items and assemblies. I can grab an item and I can assign it to a WBS on the fly. I can create new WBSs. I can add it to the alternate table. As far as the spreadsheet, this demo estimate is already quantified. So at this point, I would want to take a look at the history of everything that I've done. If I double-click in the quantity field, it brings up what's called the audit trail. And I can see the complete history of this item or assembly. You can see all of the actions that were taken against it. So if another estimator had put this together and I'm reviewing it, I can review everything that he's done. I can also run a report called the Audit Trail Details, and it will run a report and show me all the history of everything that was done in that estimate. You see the alternate table. If I wanted to assign something to an alternate, I double-click here in this column, and you'll see the alternates that I already have programmed in for this estimate. If I click Edit, you'll see the table that's governing all of this. Anything that I've assigned, it automatically calculates the cost. And you can see this active column here with the checkboxes showing what's active in the estimate and what's not. So I could turn alternates on and off. So this could be for alternates or options or change orders or value engineering, as you can see here. You'll see that I can have a WBS table turned on at the same time as anything else, and I can move these columns around. So if I like it over here, or if I like it back over in this direction, I can move those columns around, and I don't lose any information at all. I can double click here. If I want to change this to a different part of this table, I can with a click of the button. You can tag items to review later, so I could just tag those right here in the item status column, and then I could set up a filter to view those later. That's the takeoff view. If I need to actually add items and perform a takeoff, I go up here, click Add. And if I want to do an assembly, I could bring in multiple items at the same time. So if I was doing a sewer main or a water line, I could grab the ductile iron. It's going to ask me about the choices that I want to make. You know, what size is the pipe? Maybe it's a 10-inch pipe. What class is it? Maybe that makes a difference in the cost. How are my spoils being removed? You see all of the questions here have different selection of items to choose from. These items are associated with the cost items in my database. When I hit Accept, it's going to bring in all of these items at the same time. This allows for quick and efficient building of your estimate. To quantify this, I can click into Header, and up here at the top that you see the takeoff quantity calculator. I can put in my pipe length. So if I've got 1,000 feet and my bedding depth is 3 inches, and my production rate on this is going to be 200 feet a day or 250 feet a day, to add quantity, and it quantifies the entire assembly at the same time. So all of these items are now quantified. So some of them are material, some of them are a labor crew, some of them are equipment, and it's quantifying all of that. So there's formulas built in running this entire assembly. When I come over to the sheet view, you're going to see a kind of a mess of information. In this view, I can view my information however I want. So if I want to see this by CSI, I just click at the button at the top of my toolbar here. And then I can roll those sections up and review, say, the concrete all by itself. If I want to summarize that, I can do that. If I want to see the 2004 master format, our databases are cross-coded in CSI and master format. You could use a WBS to create something like a uniformat. So if I wanted to look at uniformat, I can roll the individual sections there as well. Okay, so that's a WBS that I've assigned to my database that allows me to view the information in that way as well, if I need to. There's all kinds of filters that you can set up. This is my WBS for just locations, just assigning things to different areas of the job. Maybe phases, I could set that up as well. So now I've got location and phase and CSI, and I can roll this up to different levels. And any view that I'm looking at here is also a ready-made report. So if I go up here and click Preview, it shows me the report right away, and I can go into the Style Manager, and I can change that, and I can adjust all of the different features of this report. Hit OK, and now I'm looking at a more professional report with my company logo, today's date, and any other details that I've put into this estimate. That is the estimate sheet view. Now, on the totals page, this is where you can add all of your markups. I can do a net markup. I can do a gross markup for overhead and profit. I can do a bond table, like a performance bond, where as it reaches each step that I've set up, so the first step for me, as soon as it reaches 100,000, it's going to apply a 4% bond. 200,000 is going to apply a 3.5% bond in place of the 4%. So it's intelligent enough to know once it reaches the next step, it applies a different bond that your bonding agent would charge you. And then you could have multiple taxes in here as well. I can also view my alternates here. I can right-click, go to the alternate activator, turn off the base bid, and just review my alternates all by themselves. So if this flagpole was an alternate, and yeah, I just want to review the flagpole by itself, I can do that. Refresh the view. Now I'm just viewing the cost for just the flagpole. And I could have special markups that are just for the flagpole, or whatever alternates you've set up in the system. You can also generate a proposal from the system. I'll go ahead and turn on my base bid. Refresh my view. We do integrate over to the Microsoft Word. So if I click proposal, you could have a proposal that you've created that has all of your custom information in it already, and then everything in blue here is coming straight from WinEst. And that's just a simple customization. I can also send to Excel. So any view that I'm looking at here, so if I wanted to send a simple summary view to someone that doesn't have WinEst, I could click on Excel. It's going to open up Microsoft Excel and show me the view that I was viewing in WinEst. I can also review that information that I tagged earlier. After I've reviewed it or checked some of the numbers here, I can untag it, and when I refresh, those items go away from my list. If I want to catch any holes in my estimate, I would click Incomplete Takeoff. I see that I don't have any holes, so let's add some. And you're going to see those items don't have any quantities at all. So now I can go through and be like, okay, I added a bunch of these all at the same time because I wasn't sure what size I was going to use. I can remove those quickly and easily and go through and quantify those. That is WinEst.